Hello and welcome to another weekly update. I hope you're doing well. Hope you are surviving well this time of the year. It's nearly the end of the year, and across our industry, things are quietening down. It feels like, which is quite nice. I still seem to have this massive to-do list of things, but maybe it's almost feeling like some of the things that have been put off for a large part of the year. Maybe kind of getting to the top of that list, so I might get a chance to get through them. I don't know. Like, it always perpetually feels. I always perpetually feel. It's tricky, isn't it? Perpetually feel guilty for not doing some of the things that I would really like to do. There's blog posts I'd really like to write, and I feel bad for not getting them out. But it's just so you know what it's like. But then I shouldn't really complain because we all have the same amount of time, and it's what we choose to do with it. And a lot of that comes down to planning. And priorities, but that's just the way it is. Anyway, enough about productivity. Let's talk about the Microsoft Teams development platform and some other things. And yes, there's some AI in there as well. 4 things to talk about this week. I'm going to keep it kind of light because we are getting getting to the end of the year and getting to that holiday season. I think. So next Monday, let's do some admin first. Next Monday is going to be Christmas Day in the UK. Well, everywhere really. It's just, whether or not you celebrate it. And so I will skip a weekly update on that date. So what I will probably do is just skip it completely and come back to you on whatever the one after that is. Let's just have a look. The 1st of January, that sounds, well, we'll aim for the 1st of January. I might end up doing it on the 2nd of January. We'll see, because it's a public holiday in the UK, as well as many other places. So there's probably not a lot of point. Anyway, let's talk about the Teams platform. And a new blog post out this week for a new piece of functionality that is quite interesting, actually. It's all about the mobile experience that you have for using Microsoft Teams apps in meetings. So here the scenario is you've joined a Microsoft Teams meeting and you've done so on your mobile device, and now you want to open one of the apps, which you can do. There's the Teams App Store that's in the meeting, and you go and use that app. The user interface challenge that happens here is that when you then switch back to the meeting, the app effectively closes. So if you go back to it, it starts again. This is all down to how, if you think about fundamentally what apps are in Teams, and we've talked about this for a long time, the ones that you tend to kind of open for meeting stuff just tend to be iframed websites, right? So that's why they start again. And the Teams ecosystem, the mobile platform, the mobile app there kind of tears them down and brings them up again. And so as a developer, there's not an awful lot you can do about that. And it's frustrating for users, I'm sure, because they want to kind of navigate around, go to an app, get some piece of information, bring it back to the meeting, and then come back and maybe do that again or do something different. And it's pretty tricky. Anyway, this is a problem that the Microsoft team are looking to solve. And it's good because actually it's really only Microsoft that can solve this problem. This isn't something that could easily be solved by front-end developers everywhere. And so it's kind of good that Microsoft are solving this problem. And basically what they're going to do is keep that app alive in the background. So as you move over to the app, you'll be able to use it. You'll be able to go back to the meeting. You'll then be able to switch back to the app again, and the app will remain. What it sounds like technically kind of under the hood is that they are maintaining that iframe, essentially. They're maintaining that state of that iframe, keeping it open so that as you flip in and out of it, it just kind of stays there and stays. The reason I think it's that is because they say here that there's no work for developers to do. This will just light up. And so it's a platform benefit, so there's no code to write. And that's really kind of thinking about what the problem is and why this happens. I think that must be what's happening, how they're kind of solving this problem, which is good. I think it's good. This has been a kind of a UI pain point, I think. And it is one of the challenges with the way that the apps ecosystem model works inside Microsoft Teams. The way it is all hosted as iframes and as separate instances is kind of tricky for stuff like this. So it's good to it's good to see that. I think this is going to be good. It's one of those niggles that will be nice to see ironed out. It's not a major announcement, I don't think, but it's just a quality of life update. It's currently in public preview. And so they're talking about timing. So it's currently in public preview. It's going to be on Android devices already. It's been there for a few days, literally a few days, 15th of December on Android devices. iOS's, it says, will follow soon after. I imagine maybe they just need to get it through the App Store, something like that. So yeah, this should be good. It'd be good to go into 2024 with a slightly richer experience for Teams apps on mobile devices in meetings. So I think this is all to the good. All right, let's shift gears slightly, and it's because it's the end of the year. We have an end of year message from Satya Nadella talking about 2023. And no surprises for guessing really what the focus of his message is in this 2.5 minute video. I'm not going to play it here, but I will just leave. This is the opening statement with the caption. And yeah, there is no doubt 2023 was the year of AI. And in the video, which is worth a watch because look, it's 3 minutes and 23 seconds. You can give it that amount of time. I don't care how busy you are. It's the CEO of Microsoft. It's worth listening to what he says. There's no, this is a very carefully curated video. It's not such a shooting from the hip or anything like that. You're not going to get big announcements out of this, but it's such a wrapping up 2023 and really highlighting all the ways in which not just Microsoft, but other companies as well have embraced AI and used it for good. And I think that's really what his message is AI for good. And obviously the subplot there is that Microsoft is enabling all these companies to do good things. But I think it's a good place it's a good way to think about AI. It's a nice antidote to that messaging that AI will take all our jobs. So it's nice to see some positive examples of where AI is making a good difference in the world. And so it's nice for that. It's a kind of a nice feel-good video as well. And he kind of ends being kind of excited about 2024 as well. Yeah, which makes sense. And yeah, it's worth your watch. It's worth a watch. It's 3 minutes long. You can absolutely make time for that. So I'll put a link to that in the notes, and then you can go and watch it. It's on YouTube, so it's easy to watch. Yeah. Okay. Similarly to that, and it may be. It's always hard to know how this stuff is related inside Microsoft because you see these things happen and you draw these strings together, but you never really know. It's possible that in producing the Satya video, somebody had to pull together the research to make that happen. And as part of that, they got a team of people together and said, hey, go and find interesting ways in which people are using AI and which people are using Copilot to do good things in the world. Go and find that. Find where people are using Azure OpenAI, where they're using Copilot to do nice things, and then bring that list back because Satya wants to make a video about it. As a result of that, they were left with a whole pile of interesting ways in which people are using AI. And so what they appear to have done is put it together inside of a blog post. Now, I could be correlating two entirely separate things, but it doesn't really matter. The outcome is we have this nice website here, which I'll put a link to in the notes. It's beautifully designed. Inventive ways people are using AI. And as we scroll down, it's one of those websites. Talking about these different ways in which people are using AI in sort of slightly unusual ways, I guess, that you wouldn't necessarily think of, such as this one, like creating stories to help. This lady has created stories to help teach her autistic son to navigate complex situations. We've got all these other ones here, and yeah, lots of how to use AI to use leftover cake ingredients. There's lots of these different stories, and you can scroll down. Like I say, they're very nicely presented. This is a very easy to read website. So if you are coming to the end of the year and you're a bit burnt out and you don't, you want to kind of do something useful with your time, and you want to kind of keep your brain active, but you're not quite sure what, and you're it's a bit too late in the year to be learning a new language. Maybe this is a good place to go, because this is a fairly easy to consume set of interesting examples. And those examples, it's always good to have those examples in your mind, right? Because people will ask you things, it'll come up in conversation. It's nice to be able to I remember so-and-so did this thing. It's quite a nice example, and you can kind of prove, what can be done. And sometimes that's needed, so that's good. All right. Last thing I want to talk about, and I've gone over the 10-minute mark, which is because I wasn't keeping an eye on the time and I just ended up waffling. Never mind. So let's talk about the last thing I want to draw your attention to, which is a new podcast. So maybe over the Christmas time period or holiday period, you've got some downtime, and or maybe you're traveling, and or maybe you just want to get away from the family. So maybe you are looking for new podcasts. May I draw your attention to the Copilot Connection, a new podcast, a relatively new podcast from back end of September. So they're already 6 episodes in. So it's a good time to join because there's a bit of you can catch up on some back episodes as well. But Zoe Wilson and Kevin McDonnell are both Microsoft MVPs and very influential and very knowledgeable in this space around Microsoft 365, modern workplace, Copilot, and all the rest of it. And it's them talking through various aspects of this Copilot journey. It's interviewing key people in this industry. That's a sort of newly created industry, if you like, of Copilot. And so, it's an interesting thing to go through because they've got some real world experience already. They've been at that forefront of what Copilot is and what you can do with it, as well as having that knowledge. So, if you just want to get up to speed with what not only what Microsoft 365 Copilot is, but literally how it's evolving day by day and what the latest news is and how different people are using it, this is definitely worth a watch. You can get it in all sorts of places. I'll put a link to their show page where you can obviously get it from there, but then you can also get it on Spotify, you can get it on iTunes, you can get it in all the places that you'd expect. So this is definitely worth adding to your podcast player of choice, whatever that is, and catch their episodes as they come out. Their latest episode was at ESPC, which was right at the beginning of December, which feels like a really long time ago now, but actually it really wasn't. It was only a couple of weeks, and I know that because I'm still editing the ESPC video, and I've barely made it past the keynote, and I've got so much more to do, and I just struggled to find the time. So I'm going to really try and get that ESPC video out this week before Christmas. Anyway, Copilot Connection. Go add that to your podcast player. All right, I think that's everything from me. I'm going to let you go. So we will not have a weekly update next week, which means that if you are a Christmas celebrator, then a very Merry Christmas to you. I hope it is. I hope it is nice. I hope it's peaceful and lovely, and all the rest of it. And I will see you maybe not in 2 weeks' time, maybe 2 weeks and 1 day. We'll see how it goes for the next weekly update. So I'll also take the opportunity to say have a very happy New Year as well if you're celebrating that. And I will see you on the other side in 2024. Thanks very much for watching.